doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So what's new?
Well, I just got off work, so
You tired?
I'm not real tired, but a little.
You got some energy.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
So, what you been up to today?
Just watching my son all day long.
Love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I was just at work, and those days at work can be somewhat trying
Mm-hmm.
because of people I have to deal with all day long.
Well, what about yesterday? What'd you do?
Yesterday in the morning, I think I just did house stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we went and saw a movie at the theaters.
What movie?
Smile.
Mm-hmm.
I am a person that loves to watch horror movies. I'm actually trying to get away from doing that
Why?
because of my belief
Oh, okay.
in God, and I just don't want to be in that realm anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But I had to see it because your brother said, "Mom, I bet you're going to get scared on this movie." And I was like, no way. The movies today, they suck.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, "I bet you're going to get scared." And I said, okay. So we ended up going. And let me tell you, he was not wrong.
That's scary.
Oh my goodness.
What's the movie about?
It's a psychological, fearful type movie.
Psychological thriller.
Yeah, it gets into your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it gets into your head. Because part of the movie is it's like me and you talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give up too much,
Well, I'm never going to see it. And
Yeah.
I can always put a spoiler warning.
Oh, okay. So it's like me and you talking, right? And then in your mind, you're thinking, man, this movie is somewhat can be boring, because you just see a therapist talking to a patient.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it just, oh my goodness, it just turns upside down. It's like it went from one extreme to another.
The one extreme being boring.
To I'm sitting there and every muscle in my body is tense. Like I'm about ready to fight somebody or something.
Are you on the edge of your seat or are you crawling into your seat?
I'm crawling into my seat. And I'm afraid to open my eyes.
That's scary.
That's scary. And so scary that I had nightmares about it.
Oh, really?
Yes. And you know what? I usually like that sort of thing. I used to like movies that would get into my head and make me scared. I don't know why I've always been that type of person where I'm okay with a little bit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of exciting, But now that I see the other side of it where it can mess with your mental state. See, when you're a kid, you don't think about stuff like that. But when you're an adult and you constantly are watching all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
over and over, it can mess with your mental state.
So the movie really messed with you?
Oh, yeah.
Even right now, like thinking about it?
Oh, yeah.
So what was it?
Like if you turned off the light right now and we were in this room by ourselves, that's a no bueno for me. I'd have to tell you to turn the light back on.
So what was it that was so scary? I mean, I don't watch scary movies, so...
It was the fact that the entity that was getting into everybody
Mm-hmm.
was making the person go crazy. Like seeing things.
So it's like a ghost or something? Or it's not really explained what it is?
Well, the beginning of the movie, the therapist goes in and talks to this girl. She's going nutso, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says to the girl, she says, no, you're just having a psychotic thing, break or something like that. It's stress induced or something. And the girl's screaming like, no, you don't understand. It's here. And then da 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 da. And, well, anyway, she ended up standing up all of a sudden. I'm going to miss a few parts because the memory,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll get the gist of it. So she's standing there, and the girl's freaking out because she finally sees the entity that's in there, in the room.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the floor and she's screaming and she's trying to get away from it. And the therapist goes over and calls on the red phone and says, someone needs to get in here. You know, she's going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She turns around and the girl is just standing there, and she's got this smile on her face that is just evil. I mean, pure evil. It's a smile like you're happy, but it's like a...
The eyes change it, right?
It's like, yeah, it's like a I'm going to kill you smile. But she doesn't kill her. She kills herself.
Oh.
She takes some kind of thing that broke, and she slices her throat right in front of the therapist. Well, because she did that now, that entity was transferred over to the therapist.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that's just the way it happens. You have to either kill yourself or kill someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what happened throughout the movie. Is like she was trying to figure out how this thing was transferred. And she was working with a cop, which was her ex-boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, actually, she was engaged to someone else. But she ended up... One of the cops that came to the scene was her ex-boyfriend. But anyway, she... there's a whole nother story to her, the therapist. Not just what's going on with her. Her mom was a drug addict and stuff, and she ended up ODing. Mm-hmm. And it's just a crazy story. It's like her sister thought that she was going nuts because of the trauma she had as a child. Because she literally saw her mom die, but she could have helped her mom, and she didn't. Mm-hmm. Her mom was like saying, help me, call 911, you know. And you don't see this until later, towards the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. Her sister thought that was the trauma, right?
Right.
You're just having stress-induced trauma. And she says, no, you don't understand. There's an entity, and it's trying to get me. It's trying to control me and stuff like that. And anyway, needless to say, that movie scared me to death. And I've seen them pretty much all. I've seen Saw. I've seen Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is the entity ever explained in the movie? Or is it just kind of up in the air what the entity was?
It was, let me see. It was, I can't remember if, it never did say it came from somewhere that I can remember. Mm-hmm. You want to look up the description of the movie? Maybe it tells you.
I have it here. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. As an overwhelming terror begins taking over her life, Rosa must contain her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. Mm-hmm. Is it the entity like her mom?
Well, at the end of the movie, the entity goes into the mom. See, I don't know if it started at the mom. Mm-hmm. Because there was other cases where people were going around smiling, which that was the thing about the movie. Everybody that would go and kill themselves and then they would transfer it over, then they would start smiling.
And so this is like across a town, city, United States,
world.
The world, okay.
World. Yeah, and so I don't know. It was never said if it was like a satanic thing or... But in the end, when the entity showed its face, it was in the mom. Mm-hmm. And this thing was like, I don't know, probably 8-10 feet tall, looked like. And its face had the face of the mom. But the smile, the evil smile, teeth was not ugly like you would see in a regular horror film where their teeth is all nasty and stuff.
Like a cartoon Joker smile?
Yes. He was like he said something like, you can't control your thoughts or something like that. And she went to go grab, he was choking her. He or she was choking, whatever the entity was choking her. And she said, I can't control my thoughts. So I don't know if that was like a, what do you call that when you're trying to say something, but you use something else to say it, and it's hard to figure out what they're trying to say?
I have no idea. A Freudian slip? No.
It's like he's telling her, I'm in control of your thoughts. You can't control your own thoughts. But she says, I can control my thoughts. But it's like her thoughts are him. Or the entity or whatever.
Right.
And she's trying to control him because she went throughout the whole movie basically where she was in control. Like she was fearful, but at the same time she wasn't showing deep fear. You know what I mean? Because she was confronting with all these things. I mean, at the forefront, you would see her get scared, you know, like she dropped the glass or something like that. But her thought process was, I need to find out what's going on. So she was willing to go wherever to find out what this entity was.
So the one girl kills herself. Oh, well, I guess the entity makes her kill herself in front of the doctor. And therefore the entity is transferred to her.
Right.
And she goes throughout the entire movie being harassed by the entity.
Yes.
And harassed in what ways? Like, it would just, like, say little things here and there. Would it ever, like, pop up? Like a jump scare almost?
Oh, yeah. There was many of those.
Yeah.
And, like, there was this one part where the dark hallway, she was laying in her bed, and all you could hear was, what was her name again? The doctor?
Rosa? Dr. Rose.
Dr. Rose. So the girl that had recently died or killed herself was in her room. But all you could hear her saying was, help me. Help me. And then all of a sudden she flips over, and then you don't hear anything for a second, you know, and then all of a sudden she turns around and there that girl is. It's like right there. And her room is pitch black, dark. And it comes out like, picture this doorway here, right? Imagine it's dark in here.
Right.
And out there is dark. Okay? You're flipped over, you can't see the doorway. You've seen it before you flipped over and you knew it was dark. But all you heard was, help me, help me. And then all of a sudden you turn around and there's...
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do those kind of movies. I can't even play scary games or nothing.
Yeah, I thought I would be okay. Because like I said, I've watched all those other stuff, you know. But this one was different. The camera angles and stuff, where they would, you know, like when you see Freddy Krueger coming, right? He's just running towards you. Okay, whatever. Yeah. You know. But this, it's like the camera angles was like turning upside down. Like you'd see the car driving. And the camera angles were turning like, okay, the car's driving, right? And then all of a sudden you just see the camera going flip. And it's a slow flip.
Right.
So your mind is like, hey, what's going on? You know, the way they directed this movie, it just really trips you out because the way that camera flips to be upside down, and now the car's upside down driving, it's crazy.
Does it go underneath the car? Or is it just...
No. It's an aerial type view. Oh, okay. But it's flipping upside down. And that right there just messes with your mind already. Right. You know? And then it goes from a scary scene to a scene like this.
Just sitting here talking.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. It's setting you up.
Yeah, you're like sitting there and you're backed up all the way in your chair. And you're just sitting there like, is it going to happen? I see.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, you're thinking, that there is going to be a jump scare, but sometimes there wasn't, you know. But they set you up. Whoever directed that movie was brilliant because they set you up for jump scares. But like I said, there wasn't always one. But you were automatically thinking that there was going to be one.
Parker Finn is the one who directed it.
I never heard of him.
Neither have I.
Well, he did an amazing job.
It said he directed it and wrote it. And I guess it's based off a book he wrote.
Oh, really?
And the book is called Laura Hasn't Slept.
I wonder why he changed the name of the movie. Or why he changed the... Because, see, that makes more sense.
It's probably due to marketing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see Smile, and that it's a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
People are more intrigued. You know, it like piques an interest and everything. But you see Laura Hasn't Slept, and it's a horror film. Oh, she's just scared. You know, people are like, eh.
But see, when I first saw it, when your brother showed me the trailer, I was like, eh. Because normally you would watch a trailer, they pretty much show you all the good stuff, right? And then you go to the movie, it's like, oh yeah, you already showed me that, so I already know.
I hate that so much.
I hate that more than... But let me tell you, this guy didn't do that. Whoever decides the trailers, brilliant.
Well, they usually give that out to a separate company. That a separate company usually makes the trailers.
Oh, they do? Well, brilliant. I mean, all around. All around. I mean, coming from a person who's always liked to watch horror films, brilliant.
So what would you give the movie?
A 10. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, really?
Yes. What did he get on Rotten Tomatoes? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 79%. And then IMDb, it's got a 6.9.
Okay. The only thing that I would think that people were thinking by giving those ratings, first of all, I would like to know how much of a horror enthusiast are they to where they would give those credits to, you know?
Right.
Because if you don't really watch a horror movie, you're really not going to know, you know?
Right.
How the director is thinking and stuff like that, you know? So I would like to know what those people were thinking when they wrote their review.
Let's see. Let's click on Rotten Tomatoes.
Now, are these just regular people or are these movie critics?
Well, they have the one side where it's movie critics, and then you have the other side where it's people who get to rate it. So you get to see both scores. So sometimes, like, you'll have it to where the critics will say, oh, this movie was horrible, it was trash, 15%. You know?
Yeah.
And then you have the audience that'll be like, no, this movie was great, it's like 80.
Yeah.
But on this one, so the critics gave it a 79%. The audience gave it a 78.
Oh, that's about even.
Yeah.
But are they, like, critics, they watch all sorts of movies. But are they, in their core, are they horror enthusiasts, you know?
I mean, I'm sure there's some that specialize in horror, but I'm sure it's all over the map when it comes to that, especially with the audience.
What I really liked about it is it was set in modern times, you know? It wasn't just, you know how they go back into history at the beginning of the movie, and then it was like an easy like they talked about the mom and stuff in the beginning, and they did show the mom in the beginning. She was laying on the bed and she was dead on the bed, but it was just real quick. It wasn't like they talked about it a lot, you know. Like
they gave you enough information to understand what was going on and everything,
right?
Yeah.
And then it just went straight into what happened to Dr. Rose.
So, like, this guy right here, his name is Tony Baker, and underneath it says Tony Baker Comedy, and he's a critic. And so it said, I believe the performances. I was compelled the whole time. 3.5 out of 5. So,
I mean, if you're compelled all the time, why is it a 3 out of 5?
Well, some of these scores are weird. So that one's like out of 5. The one right under it, it says score is B.
What does that mean?
So I guess like A+, A-, B+, that kind of stuff. But then you go lower, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. I would much rather had seen this movie over Saw. Because I like horror movies, but to me, horror is a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's like fear in your mind, fear to walk out the door.
I've never seen Saw. I've only seen like clips of it on YouTube and stuff. From what I understand, it's not even really horror. It's just kind of like
it's gory to me.
Murder massacre. Mm-hmm. You put like 2 or 3 people in a situation and you just watch them die.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, of course you're going to be fearful while you're in that situation. Don't get me wrong, okay? Mm-hmm. But it's the fear of you saw something happen, right? And now that same thing that what happened to that girl is happening to you. And it was like that.
You know what I think is one of the most fearful scenes ever in movie history? I don't remember what movie it was. Or wait, it was Final Destination, I think is the name of the movie. Where they got the lumber or a log that comes off the truck.
Yes.
And I think it like impales the guy or something.
Yeah.
That instilled fear in every single person on this planet.
Yeah. Well, because that's a reality that could happen, I mean, some people would say that whatever happened in this movie could be a reality, right? Because people do believe that there are entities, and if you believe in that sort of thing, it can, I don't know, possess you, I guess, maybe. Some people believe in that.
Well, you don't think the movie was about like mental illness or anything? Like people who deal with severe depression and all that kind of stuff?
That's partly what confused me, because I truly believe that there was an entity in her, okay? Now, whether the entity was schizophrenia or something like that, because she had a therapist that was talking to her, right?
When you say therapist, was it like she's in a mental hospital?
She was working in a mental hospital.
Okay.
Okay, but when the entity went into her, she now had a therapist or a psychologist or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that psychologist was talking to her, and she kept telling her, "No, you don't understand. I'm not having trauma. I have an entity in me."
The Rose character.
Yes.
Was saying that. So you think it's just like a movie about mental illness jumping from like one person to another due to a traumatic experience, and the entity is just whatever horrible things they're saying to themselves?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, because I can't honestly say that I believe that there is entities out there that can possess us if we truly believe in it. I don't know that, and
right.
And I don't want to say that there is, because I don't know, But at the same time, I wouldn't want to mess around with it either. So
you're one of those people that wouldn't touch a Ouija board?
No. No. Mm-mm. Well, because, because I believe in God and stuff like that, and I just feel like that maybe there is a hell, so there is a possibility, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about it and try to bring it out, I don't want to risk that. I just want to leave that alone. Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been about mental illness, because her mom and everything and her sister thought that she was mentally ill. Oh, and there's this one part where she goes to her sister's house and she's trying to explain to her sister what's going on, right? Because, well, let me just go back a little bit, because she went to her sister's son's birthday party.
Okay, so Rose
went to I forget the sister's name.
That's fine.
Son's birthday party. And she had given the son a present, and the boy opened it up, and it was Rose's dead cat. Oh. Well, she had been hunting for the cat the night before. How it got in there, the viewer doesn't know, but neither does Rose. Rose is freaking out. She freaks out so much, she falls back into a glass table. Well, now the son is traumatized. The sister doesn't want to have anything to do with her. You're acting like mom and da 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 da, right? So she comes back to the sister's house. She's trying to explain to her what's going on in her mind and her body and everything. This thing is controlling me. You don't understand, you know. She's really fighting for her life, right? Because most of the people that this entity had went into only lived for 4 days.
Oh, okay.
So she's on a time scale. So anyway, she's talking to her sister, and her sister pretty much told her, you need to leave. I don't want to have anything to do with you, da 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 da. And she's sitting out in her car in front of the house, and all of a sudden you see her sister kind of like storm out of the house and was walking to the car really fast. And Rose looks like, yes, you know, like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden her sister says something, which I can't remember what she said. I wish I could remember. But then you see her head literally come down, like her whole neck stretch.
Oh.
Like her head's right here. Like her face would be right here.
Okay.
How would you explain that?
Like
her neck is broken, but it's dangling right. Her face is directly where the window is.
Is it like her neck is like the one superhero? You know what I'm talking about? He can stretch his arms and his limbs and
like
stuff.
Like a Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah.
But her whole head does that. Stretches downward.
So it kind of like goes up a little bit and then straight down.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's looking right at her in the car. It's either the entity or her mental illness is doing that to her. I don't know. That's crazy. I mean, can you imagine? We're sitting here and all of a sudden my head goes...
I've seen videos online of people that have like schizophrenia and stuff. And they'll like see things that no one else can see, right? And some of their symptoms is also auditory. So they also hear stuff.
Yes.
And there was a video online that a guy created. He has schizophrenia, and he basically replicated what his schizophrenia is like.
Right.
And so he just had the camera like pointed at the ceiling, like you're laying on the bed, the lights on and everything. And it's pretty much like you see, I don't want to say like black figures, you know, like silhouettes almost, but they're more transparent.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were just like hovering over him, and then there'd be like almost like chanting as the audio and everything. I can't imagine that every single day. And
well, see, that's somewhat of what Dr. Rose was going through, because she would hear things like "help me" or what else was he saying? He would say, I say he, but I don't know what the entity was because it would go into females and males. So I'm just saying he as just to be more...
a placeholder for...
Yeah. He would say little things, you know, to her.
What did the voice sound like? Was it always just the person before, or...
Well, no, it would just be... sometimes it would be the person before, or it would just be a random voice. Like this one time when she was talking to her now therapist or psychologist, whatever, she got a phone. Her psychologist is sitting right in front of her, okay? She gets a phone call and says, Rose, how are you doing? Now, this is the psychologist she's talking to on the phone, but the psychologist is sitting there, okay?
All right.
And then she tells her who she is. And she looks at her like, oh my gosh. She didn't say anything. She just dropped the phone like, oh my gosh, you're just sitting here. And then all of a sudden you see her go like that, you know, the smile on her face. And all of a sudden you just see her get up. She's trying to get away. And the therapist gets up, walks over the couch. She looks like she's real tall. And she starts choking her. But it's the entity that's gotten into the therapist, but not in the way that it happened to Rose. I think the entity was just using the psychologist for that brief time.
So in the Rose In the end, does Rose die
Yes.
because of the entity?
Yes.
How does she die? Does she kill herself or?
She lights herself on fire.
Oh, that's a way to go.
And the ex-boyfriend that I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
he comes into the place where she's at. Now she's now at her house when she was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and because she's going back to revisit what happened to mom and stuff like that. And I think the entity wanted her to see all that. Well, anyway, after she lights herself on fire, she has this, like, not a flashback. It's like when you go, I don't know movie terminology, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like when you go back and you see, and she goes to her ex-boyfriend's house. Well, anyway, the ending is that he has the entity in him.
Okay.
Now, so she lights herself on fire. She sees her ex-boyfriend there at the mom's house. But then later it shows her running to the ex-boyfriend's house before all that happened. But then she was like, "Can I sleep? Can I just sleep here?" And then he goes, smiles, and he starts laughing. "You can sleep here forever." You know, that kind of thing. And he's smiling.
Giving you goosebumps?
Yes. I mean, it was crazy scary. And I wouldn't normally say that because I used to like horror films a lot.
So it's the best movie you've seen in quite a while?
Oh, yeah.
Hands down?
Hands down. I mean, just the movie, the camera angles and stuff. I've never seen that in a movie before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grew up watching, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, whatever it's called, Amityville Horror and stuff like that, I mean, Salem's Lot, stuff like that, they don't have weird camera angles. It was just pretty much, oh, you're right there, okay. Now you just move around a lot and I'll follow you,
Mm-hmm.
Or Freddy Krueger running down the street with long arms with these knives on his hand. But these camera angles were crazy. It got you thinking,
Thinking what?
Like, I shouldn't use euphoric because it definitely was not euphoric. Like you were in a dream or something.
Mm-hmm.
It got you thinking that way because you're like seeing the camera move upside down, or it would just tilt this way a little bit, and it's like just got your mind thinking. It's like, what is going to happen? Why is the camera going that way? It made you think that something was going to happen.
Do you ever see the entity by itself, or is it always in the form of somebody else?
Only in drawings from people who had died previously. Like the one guy, right before he died, he did a lot of drawings.
Mm-hmm.
And the entity had a big smile on his face. It was like black and white with a big smile on his face. And it was like a jagged smile.
Mm-hmm.
And, but what you see in the end is the mom looks 10 feet tall, like literally 10 feet tall. And you see the entity makes her rip her face off and take. Now you see the entity taking Dr. Rose opening Dr. Rose's mouth and going into her, right? But then it goes to something else. It's hard to explain unless I had the script right here.
Right.
Because I can't remember every little thing in between. I know you say you probably won't watch it, but...
Oh, I will never watch it.
Do you think Arve would watch it?
Probably. But I don't do anything horror.
Well, does she scare easily?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, man. Like, I would not watch it alone. I would not, and I wouldn't turn off the lights.
Even for $1 million? You want to watch it alone in the dark?
No.
Really?
Really.
That bad?
That bad. I mean, your dad was scared, tensed up.
Mm-hmm.
Arms folded like this. Every muscle. I'm not kidding. Not kidding. And your brother was correct. He says, I bet you're going to get scared. I know you're going to get scared. I said, no. No, I won't. No way. He was right.
So are you done with horror movies now? That's the last one?
Well, I saw previews of the other horror movies that are coming out, and I don't really want to watch them. This one that I saw it says Pray for the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. And I won't watch that one because they talk about the church and stuff like that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of The Exorcist in a way because it's about a girl that gets possessed. And I just don't want to. I mean, this movie, the Smile, scared me enough to the point where I don't think I'll watch another one.
No more horror?
No.
Wow.
Mm-mm. Because I don't ever want to think that an entity can get into me like that. Now, whether it's a mental problem or a real, like spirit, ghost, or whatever.
Right.
I don't want that inside of me. And I don't want to do anything that would help it get inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I had said before, if you do something over and over and over and over, whatever it is, it's going to affect your mental state,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah. But you really think a horror movie would do that?
I think if you allow it to really get into your mind, then yeah.
Because you have a lot of people they love horror. They can't get enough of horror.
Mm-hmm.
And they've seen every single horror movie on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't seem affected whatsoever.
I guess it depends on how you think. I don't know. That might sound bad on my part. It's like, I mean, because I don't want to think that way, I don't want to think evil thoughts, at all. But
Well, I don't think it's you thinking evil thoughts. It's just maybe the movie twisted your mind a little too much.
Oh, it did twist my mind too much. And I was actually scared a little bit last night. I had to turn on the TV to distract my mind.
Wow.
And that's scary for me. It's like, why would I want to think that way? Why would I even want to see that face again, I don't want to see that.
Well, I guess the movie did its job, right?
Yeah, it did. Like, I'm going to have to distract myself before I get my truck. Yeah, it scared me.
Well, I mean, it's dark right now, so, like, when you're driving, you're going to be, like, trying to distract yourself with the radio cranked up and everything.
Oh, yes. I will, and I'll definitely be doing that. I'll probably crank it with Christian music, so the entity will not even get in my truck.
One question I do want to ask you is, what is the best concert you've ever been to? In your opinion.
In my opinion?
How about, like, the best and the worst?
I would say, oh man, that's hard. The best one, I think, just because I'm a Bon Jovi fan, is I would say the Bon Jovi tour, one of the Bon Jovi concerts. I don't remember the name because that was in the 80s.
Oh.
I would say the worst one I went to was probably the Pantera concert.
What made it bad?
Well, some guys got hurt because they were going into the mosh pit and stuff like that, and they ended up getting hurt. And, nobody wants anybody to get hurt.
Isn't that the point of a mosh
No,
mosh
I
pit
mean,
to
like,
get hurt?
literally got hurt. Like, jumping off stage and hitting the concrete. Like, people would move out of the way so they wouldn't catch them. And they would hit the concrete and bust their head open.
Oh.
And that was not a sight I wanted to see, people bleeding like that, So I would say that, I mean, as far as music, it was good, but as far as
The experience.
no one being respectful for each other
Right.
was bad.
I think that happened to Coolio once.
Oh, really?
He jumped off stage and everyone moved out the way
Yeah, see,
and they didn't catch him.
growing up in the 80s, and there's like a certain respect for each other because we all like the same music, right? So you're going to a concert and you're thinking everybody's going to have respect for each other. Because a mosh pit is not people going in there and punching everybody's lights out. It's just bumping into each other and stuff like that and running around. I mean, pretty much acting crazy. But you're not going in there and killing each other, or trying to really hurt somebody,
Well, nowadays they do. Some people do that just for views.
I know, and that's horrible. I mean, it was never intended to be that way, I don't think, in my opinion.
Like the craziest concert?
Headbangers Ball, Anthrax, Halloween, and Exodus.
What was crazy?
I was in the front, close to the front row,
mm-hmm.
and I was getting smushed. Like when the bands would come out, people would just move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in like an auditorium on that concert, not like a big, help me out here, a big
field.
We were inside, but it was like a smaller auditorium. It wasn't like a big,
like a stadium. Almost.
Yeah, stadium. We weren't in a stadium, so the room was already crowded.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the front row and the band comes on, and it's like everybody is just like stuck like glue.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I thought I was going to die that night because I was sweating. Thought I was going to pass out because everybody's so scrunched up together,
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was pretty bad. The music was great, in my opinion, but the crowd was just crazy.
Do you still have all your, I think it's Ozzy Osbourne. You had stuff signed by him, right?
Uh-huh.
You still have all that stuff?
Yeah.
What was it like meeting Ozzy? I mean, I know it was probably short, but...
Well, no, I got to meet him twice.
Oh, okay.
I got to meet him when he signed the tickets,
mm-hmm.
which I waited in line for 2 hours for that. Then me and my friends, after the concert, we didn't go into the concert now. That's funny. No, I didn't have tickets for that concert.
Okay.
My friend Melinda gave me the ticket for the concert, but I never went. This was after.
Okay.
But anyway, we sat behind the building where the limo was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I want to meet Ozzy Osbourne. I really do. So let's go meet him. So we ended up following him to his hotel at Kahala Hilton, Hawaii.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
It is creepy. Well, we were fans, Fans do crazy things. So we followed his limo to the hotel. We got out and we're like, Ozzy, Ozzy. And I think it was the limo driver said, no, he needs to go upstairs and rest and da-da-da-da. And like, oh, of course we're young and we want to meet him.
How old were you at the time?
I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And so I was somewhat disappointed. And then Ozzy in his, crazy kind of way, he was like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like, in his British accent, he says, oh, let them bloody take some pictures or something like
mm-hmm.
that, So, and he took pictures with us. He was actually a pretty cool guy,
mm-hmm.
considering he had just got done with like a 3-hour concert and he's already like, I don't know how old he was at the time, but I'm sure he was very tired, and he took the time out to take pictures with us.
And that's it, no conversation or anything, really?
Not really. It was pretty, he was nice enough to take pictures, and we didn't want to get into a whole thing because we knew he was tired and stuff. And
mm-hmm.
I still have the pictures today, and it was a memory I'll never forget.
How many other rock stars did you meet?
I met Anthrax. I didn't meet the whole band, but I met some of the guys from Anthrax.
Mm-hmm. How was that?
That was fun. We were just waiting behind the building and where the tour buses was, and me and my ex-boyfriend at the time, and we were just able to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you pretty much have to go out of your way to try to meet him, but
right.
I almost had a chance to meet John Bon Jovi, but that didn't happen because my ex-boyfriend at the time would not jump the fence. I wanted to jump the fence,
right?
So I could meet him, but I could. He was like, "I'm not going to jail for John Bon Jovi." But anyway, I was kind of crazy back then.
So Ozzy, Anthrax.
That I met.
Yeah.
I met Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
He's the singer, right?
Uh-huh. That was a brief encounter.
That was at a concert, correct? Or
No,
just randomly?
that was at the club that I used to go to.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Who else? Glenn Danzig from Danzig.
Oh,
I might
don't
be
know.
saying it wrong. I know people are gonna be, you said that wrong. I think it's Danzig. Danzig. He's very short in person. He looks tall in the videos. If you ever watch one of his videos, you think he's very tall. He is very muscular like he is in the videos, but he's very short.
Like 5 foot short? Or
I would say a little bit taller than that, maybe like 5'5" or something like that, you know, like average girl size. But he's very buff back then. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it.
Really? Out of all the bands you've seen, that's it?
Well, your Uncle Robbie met some people because he worked at Coalina Golf Course. He met some guys from Skid Row band back then. I have, he met Alec John Such, which was the bass player for Bon Jovi when they first started out. And I have their signatures. He got those signatures for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I still have those. I'm trying to think. I did go see Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses.
I remember you told me you also saw Rage Against the Machine.
Yes, Rage Against the Machine, I think, was at the Pink Cadillac, I want to say. That was a good concert. And you know what's funny? It's like I still like listening to their music, but I don't necessarily believe in their political views. But see, back then, you know, you're young. You don't care. I don't care about your political views. Just sing the song, you know? But now I'm like, when I listen to music or listen to a song, I'm very lyrical. I listen to the music or the lyrics.
Right.
And their political views are very extreme to a certain extent. But I like their music.
Yeah.
I like the sound and everything.
Tom Morello's my favorite guitarist.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, considering I had a pretty good, I was always the type to want to go out anyway. See, that's one thing I disagree with the way the world is now with you kids. You know, speaking from a mom's perspective now, okay? See, when I was growing up, we actually went and did things. We went to concerts. We went to our friend's house down the street. We could stay out until 6 o'clock at night for dinner. And the world is just so different now, you know? It's like you can't even go to a concert now without worrying about getting shot or something like that, you know? All these shootings.
Well, I mean, that doesn't happen all the time, you know? That's like one isolated incident.
But it is and it isn't.
It sits in the back of your head, yeah.
Yeah, because you've had shootings in movie theaters and stuff like that, you know? And, look at what happened in Vegas at the Jason Aldean concert. Look at all them. That was a country and western concert. People, you know, you wouldn't think that would happen there. At a heavy metal concert, maybe, you know?
I don't think so. I don't think you expect that to happen
anywhere
at any concert.
It's just crazy to me how the world has changed.
There's also that incident of, I don't listen to his music, but Travis Scott. I think it was Travis Scott.
That's the one that...
Where like 8 people died or 9 people died at his concert.
And he didn't stop, or did he stop?
He didn't stop.
I don't know the whole story. So.
The concert just kept going.
Did he know that people were dying?
There's a video of him, and he's like, I don't know, like halfway singing into a microphone. And he's staring at the crowd, and in the crowd, you can see somebody being taken away on a gurney or something like that. Or she's being dragged by security and everything. And she's passed out. I'm not sure if she's dead in the video,
right?
But she's passed out.
Okay, now let me take you back to 1980, whatever, when I was at the Anthrax concert. I didn't pass out, but I was on the verge of passing out. Me and my friend Patty were on the verge of passing out because we were so close together with everybody, you know.
Right.
The body heat was crazy. Okay. And you're cheering and you're moving around, and your body's just sweating and stuff, you know. And there were people that had passed out, right? And the bodyguards take them out, or the security takes them out, and they take them to backstage and they wet them down or whatever they do back there. See, I was taken out because I was on the verge of passing out, but I was able to get out and go upstairs where I could cool off, you know.
Right.
But
well, the problem with the
and
Travis Scott thing,
they didn't stop singing and stuff.
but the problem with the Travis Scott thing is he deliberately allowed too many people to come in.
Oh, so it wasn't
He would
controlled.
tell his fans, forget security, don't follow any of their rules, just come on in.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And security was bombarded with people, and they couldn't control the crowd.
Like now they have like those really tall fences and everything, so that way, you know, it takes you forever to climb over the fence. You can't just hop over it or anything.
Right.
They literally toppled them over and just ran over it.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he promote that? Why would he try to promote that?
He's an idiot.
I mean, is he famous?
Yeah.
Even now he's still famous? Or
I mean,
is
not
he,
now.
Like people...
I think it's Travis Scott. I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not saying the wrong person.
Did he ever apologize or anything like that?
I mean, it was a half-assed apology.
Really?
Like, you know, he had his phone in selfie mode, and he was like rubbing his face like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know.
And what, you didn't think it was genuine? He just was doing it for the...
If you saw it, you wouldn't think it was genuine either.
Oh.
It wasn't like a PR team was behind it, you know, gave him like a script to say or anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that or anything, but it didn't seem genuine at all. It was more like, oh, I have to do this or else I'm going to lose
Everything.
a whole bunch of money and stuff.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Travis Scott ate killed in crowd during his concert.
So is he being sued by anybody?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because I don't know because it's not his fault in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is and it isn't because
it's an indirect type thing.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could sue him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know I could see.
Well, it's like when we would go to like mosh pits and stuff like that, it's like enter at your own risk, you know? Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a standing room only, you are entering at your own risk.
Well, I mean, you got to also understand it's two different genres of music. Metal music, you're expecting, you know, you go in the mosh pit or you stay out of it.
Right.
You're either in it or you're out of it.
Right.
This is like it's a rap concert. You don't get mosh pits at rap concerts.
Right, but you know what I'm saying? The difference between now and then, to me, I mean, there's other people that may not agree with me, but people don't respect each other anymore, nor do they care.
I remember back when I was in high school, I had a friend and he would go to all those concerts and everything of what, you know, I don't remember the band's names because I didn't listen to the music, but he was into metal and all that kind of stuff. And he was telling me about how the singer of the band, he would put his arm out in a straight line, right? And right there, the room would divide. It's like just everyone knew. And they all squeeze up against the opposite walls and everything. And then when he said go, they'd all just run at each other. And they called it a death wall.
Yes, that is such a thing. That is such a thing. But see, it's just, everybody knows that that's going to happen, you know? But then you have respect for each other too, you know?
Well, this one, they didn't have any respect for anybody. But yeah, it does say he was sued.
Oh, okay.
But it says like they settled out of court and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, you have to look at it too. Like back in the Elvis days, there was women that loved Elvis so much that they were passing out, you know?
Same thing for the Beatles.
Yeah. So, I mean, whose fault is it really, you know?
Well, I mean, an incident like the Travis Scott one, I feel like you can kind of pin it on him because he basically told him there are no rules, disregard security.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that didn't even have tickets were going in.
Oh, okay.
Like the hundreds.
Oh, okay. Then that's different. Because I'm pretty sure Elvis didn't say anything like that. That was
Well,
just...
of course not.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And I think like a little kid died at the concert.
Really? Did he get trampled on or something?
I don't remember. Because I think he was like 8-year-old or something like that.
That's horrible. If anything, they should be watching out for him. Was he by himself? I mean, was his parents there?
Let's see. Ezra Blunt died after being trampled at a Travis Scott festival. Ezra Blount, 9, died from severe injuries after being trampled at Travis Scott's Astroworld.
Where was his parents?
It doesn't say.
I'm not trying to blame the parents or anything, but I mean, who is supposed to be watching this kid? But you know what I'm saying? Somebody other than Travis Scott needs to be held responsible for that, because that's an innocent child.
Well, of course, yeah. But I mean, it's also possible that when all those people were rushing in,
they couldn't see where the child had gone.
Like they could have been holding their hand and then they just got lost in the mess, or they had them on their shoulders and then they fell over due to people rushing in, and it could be a whole bunch of things.
In my opinion now, this is just my opinion, I would not have taken my 8-year-old to a concert like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the environment, you know. I'm sure they were smoking weed and all that stuff.
Here you go. He said, this is the father. He said Ezra was sitting on his shoulders before the crowd surge crushed them. Mr. Blunt lost consciousness, and when he came around, his son was missing.
Oh, so they all got crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
A frantic search ensued until the boy was eventually found at the hospital, severely injured. Ezra suffered damage to his brain, kidney, and liver after being kicked, stepped on, and trampled and nearly crushed to death. His family said in a lawsuit filed against Scott and the event's organizer. The Blount family is seeking at least $1 million in damages.
And see, I mean, I get it. The family is suing him. But at the same time, I would not have taken my 8-year-old son to a concert like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, you know.
I mean, would you take your son to a concert like that?
Me personally, no, but that's mainly because I don't like crowds and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if he was older, you know, probably like
12,
15, I would say 15. 16. Because even a 12-year-old, you can lose them in a blink of an eye. I feel like a 16-year-old, 15, 16, you can...
Yeah, well, I was 16 and going to concerts, so... But I was going by myself because I could drive.
I will say, though, it's kind of messed up that the kid was on his shoulders and they both got crushed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, what it makes you want to think, the people that were coming at their direction, they didn't even care that child was on the father's shoulders. They didn't even care period.
I mean, they probably didn't even realize that they were stepping on a person. It just was ground to them.
I know.
It didn't matter as long as they got in the Travis Scott concert.
That's crazy to me. I would never do something like that. If I can't go, I ain't going, you know? I ain't going to try to force my way in, you know?
Well, I mean, I haven't heard anything about Travis Scott since the incident.
Oh, I'm sure it's damaged his career.
Because, like, he was on top of the world. I don't know if you know. But, like, his album Astroworld, when it dropped, it, like, shook music almost.
What's one of his songs?
I don't know. I don't listen to him. I don't know anything about it. But it, like, shook the world. Everyone was listening to it. Everyone couldn't wait to go to his concerts and everything. And that's what caused everything.
That's crazy. That's unfortunate. I mean, but, you know, we lose people all the time to unfortunate things, you know. I mean, there's this one concert. I wasn't at the concert, but there was Sebastian Bach was the lead singer of Skid Row. He I think someone threw a bottle at him on stage,
Mm-hmm.
Well, his first reaction was to pick up the bottle and throw it back, but it hit the wrong person. It hit a girl in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And he paid for her medical and stuff like that. And he apologized, very sincerely apologetic, that, he shouldn't have reacted that way and stuff like that. And I commend him for that. But, I mean, people in the audience need to be respectful. I mean, why are you there if you don't like the group, Or why are you there just to make it awful for other people,
Well, some people think that it's like their world in a way, so they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, and Sebastian Bach at the time was a very good singer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was in opera and stuff like that. He sung, like, I don't know what you would classify that music back then. I would say rock and roll. I don't think they classified Skid Row as heavy metal back then, but he was in opera. He had an amazing voice.
I think another issue with the whole Travis Scott thing is like when the incident happened, like the next day, people were posting online like a compilation of different artists from different genres and everything, stopping whole concerts, 100,000 people because somebody passed out or people are fighting or whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. But why couldn't Travis Scott do the same thing? Like, once we're done, I'll show you the video of his apology. And if I can find it, the one video of him just watching somebody passed out, getting dragged away, and he's still, like, singing.
He's sitting there watching it?
He's, like, on top of this really tall podium. Like, he's standing above the crowd. He's not level with them at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he's way up in the air.
Yeah.
And he's just staring down singing.
Really?
He's not, like, singing words, but he's, like, humming. Or it's something. I don't know what it is.
And he doesn't comment or anything?
He's just staring.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Was he high or something?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, because if you're on drugs, I mean, you don't care. I mean, you really don't. So, that's crazy. I feel bad for the kid,
Mm-hmm.
Adults, yeah, of course you feel bad for them too, but a child like that age, they don't have a choice, I mean...
Well, I mean, of course you're going to feel... Most people would feel more for the kid because they're completely helpless.
Right.
A grown man, his father, if he knew what was happening, he could have at least, pushed some people out of the way and tried to do something.
But he was caught off guard.
Oh, I'm sure they just rushed him from behind.
Yeah.
And it was probably at least 100 people.
Wow.
Just a whole wave of people.
That's crazy. That's like a wall coming down on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you have different types of people. You have people who weigh 300 pounds. You have people who are built, muscles, and all that's coming down on you.
I mean, even if they're not.
Yeah.
Even if they're skinny like me.
Yeah, and
it's 100 of them.
And they're rushing. Yeah. That's crazy. I can't believe that. That poor child. That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you like?
What do you mean?
As far as music.
I don't really like music anymore.
And why is that?
I don't know.
Because you used to be into rap, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So
rap, rock, metal.
Well, what happened?
I don't know. I just don't really like music anymore. Like, I play it in the car, just, so it's not quiet.
Uh-huh.
But that's it. I don't really go looking for music anymore or anything.
Do you always have to have noise around you?
No.
So you can sit in quiet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. I'm like that. I mean, but I love music. So I can,
I like music. It's just I don't find it intriguing anymore, I guess. I mean, that's probably not the right word. It just doesn't when you listen to it, something you really like, and it just you can feel it, and it gives you a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
I don't get that anymore.
Not from anything?
Not anything I've listened to recently.
But when you listen to the stuff that you used to listen to, do you get that feeling?
I get a feeling of nostalgia. but not like you know when you hear a new song, like brand new to you, right?
Yeah.
And it just like you're like, whoa, this is totally different, and you love it and everything. I haven't had that in years.
Wow. And see, I have that feeling. I wouldn't say every time I listen, but there's a lot of songs that will make me cry even, you know. Because I like country too. And, you know, country songs are usually a really good story, you know. I mean, most music, if you really listen to it, the lyrics are good stories, you know.
Right.
But country can hit you in your heart. I do like classical too sometimes. Like if I just want to feel at peace or something like that, I'll listen to something like that, you know, where there's no words. It's just
it's
sound.
just instrumental.
Yeah.
Of like Beethoven or yeah.
I also like the ones where they have the piano but they'll have like the rain or like a stream or something. I like that too.
Yeah, I feel like I just maybe don't understand music anymore. Or, I don't know, my brain is just not interested in music anymore.
What are you most interested in now? Like...
Nothing really.
Nothing? Like... You're interested in teaching your son certain things?
I mean, yeah.
But you yourself, like when you're by yourself, you don't really have one thing that you gravitate to?
Oh, well, like every day I look forward to going out in my garden and making sure it's all good and everything.
Well, that's something.
That's pretty much the only thing.
And you don't listen to music when you're out there?
No, because so usually it'll just be me and my son, and I'll wait till he takes a nap, or if it's early enough in the morning and he's still sleeping, I'll go ahead and just go out there and, you know, water them, check them, make sure they're doing all good and everything. And I just quiet, you know, whatever noise happens to be in the morning. So if it's birds or a car driving by, whatever.
Well, that's nice. I mean, you could say that's music, but that's music from the earth.
I mean,
from nature.
I guess, yeah. Well, it's not much nature. It's usually a car passing by. We do have sometimes, not now because it's fall, but during the summertime and everything, we were getting barn owls out in the yard and everything.
Oh, wow.
I went outside one time, right? Because usually I'll just see one, and when he sees me, he'll fly away. I went outside one time, and right behind our shed, there was 6 barn owls.
Wow. Where are they coming from?
I'm assuming they live underneath our shed during the summertime.
Really? That's crazy.
And I don't know if it was like a mom and her babies, because they were all the same size. Or what was going on. But it was just 6 of them.
It's like a phenomenon.
And then I, you know, as soon as one sees me, they all take off.
Oh, so you weren't able to get a picture of them?
I wanted to get a picture of them so badly. But every time, because it's like they're always behind the shed. And so I can't sneak up on them.
Right. Oh, man, that would have been were they all lined up?
They weren't lined up. They were in like you know when you like go to the mall and you'll see just like different groups of people?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Oh.
Like there was a group of 3, there was a group of 2, and then there was just one off to themselves.
That would have been an awesome picture.
And then their color is like white and gray.
Oh, wow.
Pattern all the way down. It's almost like a horizontal zigzag pattern all the way down their body and everything.
Really? Wow, that's pretty cool. That would have been an awesome picture.
Right?
You probably could have put that on a postcard.
I probably could have. But, I mean, they always know where I'm at. And they always surprise me. Because I'll be walking and I'll be like, oh, and by the time I see them, they're gone. See ya.
And where do they go?
They usually just fly up to the nearest telephone pole or something.
Oh. How big are they? Or how small are they?
I'd probably say... I'm trying to think of something to compare it to. Probably like a... Not like a construction one, but like one that you could buy at Walmart, like a traffic cone.
That big?
Like for little kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, like you put the little traffic cones and you're teaching a kid how to ride their bike and everything.
Oh, yeah.
One of those ones.
Oh, okay.
They're not real big.
Yeah, no. But that's pretty cool, though. I haven't seen anything that cool.
And then also underneath the shed, we'll get like, I don't know if they're like chipmunks or something. Mm-hmm. They're smaller than a squirrel. Mm-hmm. And they'll just dart around the whole yard.
That's cool. They made this their home or something. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
But you go look and there's like, so like the shed is built up a little bit higher than the ground, right? And so there's just holes going up all underneath it. We'll get rabbits living under there and everything.
What's under there? I mean, there's a hole in there?
I mean, there's holes in all different directions. Because you can get to it on all sides. So on the back side, there's like a real big hole. And that's the one that the owls were using, the real big one. On the left side, there's smaller ones that like the chipmunks use and stuff.
Yeah.
On the right side, that's the one the rabbits would go in and out of.
Wow. So you got a house full of pets in there.
I mean, I guess.
But you don't feed them or anything. You just let them live their nature life.
Well, I'm sure they probably taken stuff from the garden that I don't know about.
Yeah, but that's okay, right? Yeah.
They say when you plant a garden, you're supposed to make enough for you, your family, and all the wild animals around you.
Really? Well, yeah, you got to take care of nature too.
Well, I mean, that's mainly so that way the animals don't eat everything you have and you get nothing.
That would be funny.
Because, I mean, think about it. You plant just one plant, and then one rabbit figures out it's there.
Right.
It's game over.
Yeah. You're starving. But, yeah, that's cool. I don't know if in my mind, I would want to start a garden, but once I get started, I don't know.
It's easy. The hard part is starting it. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because the easy part is watering it.
You never thought about doing a raised bed garden?
No. Because, I mean, you do enough research and you figure out what'll grow out here without adding soil. You just dig a hole and plant a seed, water it every day.
And so you said you had squash out there now, so...
it's 4 squash plants, and they're pretty much almost dead now because it is fall. But there's 7 squash on there, so I'm going to see if they make it. The watermelon plant has 1 watermelon on it. That's about almost the size of my head right now.
Okay.
And then I planted potatoes too. I don't know how they're doing, and I won't know until it's time to pull them.
Right, yeah.
So,
like what kind of potatoes?
just the ones you buy at the store.
Like Yukon Gold?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh.
We just had them sitting in the pantry and we forgot about them, so they started sprouting.
Oh, okay.
So I just threw them in the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And if I get nothing, oh well. I mean,
at least you're trying, You're trying to test everything to see what you can get and what you can't get. But how long do you think your watermelon's going to last? Do you think you'll be able to eat it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's pretty much the size of my head almost.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And so I'm just waiting for it to ripen so I can just take it off.
Oh, okay.
Now, will I get more? Maybe not. It is. I mean, the vines for it, they're probably like 5, 6, 7 feet long. And I got 1 watermelon. Well, there was 2, but there was 1 little baby one and he didn't make it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Trial and error, right?
I'm so glad I got 1.
Yeah.
At least 1.
And you can feed it to your son.
Because I planted, I think, 4 watermelon seeds. 3 of them sprouted, and only the 1 plant survived.
Oh, okay. Well, 1 is better than none.
And that's with adding nothing to the soil. I didn't add anything. I just dug a trench and planted the seed and watered it every day.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, and you're going to eat it?
Yeah.
Do you like watermelon?
Kinda.
Well, that's good.
I don't like squash, but I ate the squash.
Oh, I love the squash. That squash you gave me was really good.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, that's because it's homegrown and not store-bought.
Yeah. That's another thing. Groceries are so expensive now.
That's why you should start your own garden.
I should, but I work.
Well, I can help you.
I work, go home and work.
I told you I'll go ahead and dig when it's comes time again next year. I'll go to your house. I'll dig a whole trench for you and everything. I'll plant the seeds for you. All you got to do is water them.
How about we can do it together?
I mean, yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
So what you think? We'll end it here?
Yeah.
Since it's getting kind of late.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
You're the first person to do it twice.
I'll do it again and again. I actually like this. Pretty cool.
Oh, I love doing it.
But I'm going to say one thing before we go. I'm glad that we redirected the conversation because now I'm not so terrified to walk outside.